What's going on, everybody? This first story is going to be about the Covington Catholic kid, old Nicholas Sandman. Bam! He's throwing out a hell of a lawsuit. Now, he's suing the Washington Post for $250 million. $250 million. That's how much, what is it? Jeff Bezos paid for the Washington Post. Now, that's a whole lot of money. And it's not going to be just him. You know, he is the main, he's the main person putting this lawsuit forward, but it's in combination with some of the other kids that were in there, because they all were being attacked from left-wing media, this, that, and the other. And, so, I mean, that's a whole lot of money, though. Now, they're not going to get nowhere near that. I think $250 million is going to be seen by any judge that takes the case as completely unreasonable amount of money. But I can see why they set it so high. It makes sense, because anyone who's ever been in a lawsuit, I haven't, but by watching news and reading through news of all the time and going through lawsuits and all that stuff, you never get the money that you're asking for. Generally, I mean, there have been cases that have received crazy sums of money, but generally, as a rule, when you're trying to sue somebody, you up the number to an astronomical level, because then you got a mad gap of bargaining room. All right, but yeah, I love this lawsuit. I think it's fabulous. It's great. It is great, and there's a lot of reasons why I like this lawsuit. First off, it'll shut up a lot of left-wing media when a story comes out, because I don't know how many of you follow the actual news. A lot of people get their news from independent sources and whatnot, alternative media, which is a better way to get your news, because you get more complete facts. Us in the alternative media, we are better at dissecting situations, apparently, than the mainstream media. Because the legacy media, the mainstream media, they're so biased, and everyone knows that. There's so many polls that show Americans are just kind of sick of mainstream media because of that reason. They only lean towards generally the left. Like 85% of the media leans left. You have a few news publications. There's only like one or two that are on television that'll be either kind of centrist or lean right. Excuse me. But yeah. So this is beautiful, though, because the Washington Post has been known for putting stories out that are generally not how they seem. Not that the story is necessarily completely false, but they over-embellish the situation. Because the first day, like I was saying with the alternative media, the first day that one video clip came out, and they tried to push a narrative that these kids were sitting here trying to harass this man, who turned out to really be a leftist, like a protester guy. That's his MO. He does this all the time to try to make people on the right look bad. What's his name? Nathan Phillips or something? I don't remember. I don't really care. But, yeah. So, the first day, us in the alternative media and whatnot, we did some more research. We went online and everything and started looking up the whole video. And you can clearly see, I'm stating old facts by now, but you could clearly see that the kids from Covington Catholic were all standing around, and Mr. Phillips walked up to them beating his little drum and got up in the boy's face. And I give that boy a whole lot of credit. A whole lot of credit. Because the way, as a kid, the way he handled that situation was so respectful and so professional. I mean, he just sat there, put a small little smile on his face, and just let the guy beat the drum in his face. Now, that's hard for anybody to do, I would imagine, especially a kid. I'm an adult, and if someone came up to me and started beating a drum in my face, I'd probably have some choice words at the minimum for them, you know, because that would get annoying real quick. But the kid was smart, and at one point in the video, you even see him look back to some of his friends and do that with his hand. You know, he was doing that, like, hey, everyone just calm down, chill out, don't disrespect the man. So everyone did. They took his lead and they calmed down. But yeah, this he said, or his family put out a statement that this was a modern day form of McCarthyism, which indeed it is, on the Washington Post side. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm thinking it's going to end up settling out of court for. I mean, the kid will be lucky to get 5-10 million, but they should have to pay him a considerable amount of money, because they had people, after they put out that fake news, they had people try to dox these kids. They had people sending threatening messages to his house and all kinds of stuff. I mean, y'all saw, anybody that follows Twitter and all that stuff saw just the vitriol people had towards this kid over a made-up story. Something that was spun to fit a narrative. And that's the problem with these mainstream media things, is they're always trying to go with a narrative. They don't actually care about what's actually happening. And that's one of the biggest problems in our country, is factual information is not being spread via the news, where that's where a lot of, especially like older people, go to get their factual information. You're supposed to be able to trust the news. But yeah, I hope this lawsuit works out for the best for him. And I think this is just the beginning. I'm pretty sure this is just the beginning. This is going to be just, I think they went after the Washington Post because I think, if I remember correctly, they were the first people, the first organization to put this story out there in the twist that they put it in. But there's all kinds of news agencies who twisted this story and called shame and all this other stuff upon these kids that did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I hope to goodness they get a lot of money and they put a dent on the Washington Post, because there ain't no way that the Post didn't see the whole video. There's no way. Because like I said, all of us in alternative media, we've seen the video the day it happened, and everyone wrote it off like this is complete BS. And kids did nothing wrong. And then they ran with it for well over a week. They ran with the narrative that these boys came up to him. I mean, CNN, MSNBC, they all did this. They all did it. So, I think this is just the beginning. He'll probably get a considerable amount of millions of dollars for this lawsuit. And then there's going to be more to follow. And you got to think, this kid really does have an issue for the rest of his life because of this, because people know his name. That's another place where they screwed up. This kid's underage. You can't be screaming out underage kids' names and all this stuff, especially in the news, and especially when the story's not real. That was a bad mistake on their part, and that's not just for WAPO. That's for all the media agencies that did it. I mean, they really screwed this up. They screwed it up good, and I hope they all get it. And like I said, this isn't going to be the first lawsuit. You mark my words. This is just going to be the beginning. This is just going to be the beginning, because that lawyer knows too. Sandman's lawyer knows that he's going to be getting some real big payments out of this. So, like I said, expect this just to be the first out of many lawsuits. But yeah, he won't get $250 million. He'll probably settle for $10 10 or under out of court. If he gets more than that, I mean, you never know. He could get a judge that says, you know what, you're absolutely right. These people do deserve to pay extensively for what they've done, because it was defamation of character. The kid's got to go his whole life. Now, when he goes to apply for a college, they're going to be like, ain't you that Covington Catholic? And that could screw him up. He goes to apply for a job. Ain't you that Covington? Screws him up. You know? So, we'll see. But it's getting real good. It's getting real good. Alright. Well, as always, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.